It is not in what you say, but in how you say it. That is the cadence of how we speak. So let me break this down for everyone out there that is just now tuning in. Welcome back to HypnoVision Studios. Let's talk about personality and personal reality. And thank you for the recent comments. I will put your subscriber names on the screen. You are very much seen and appreciated as subscribers to my channel. So cadence, as it turns out, a few years ago when I was learning to do voice narration, was something that I came across. I had reached out to someone, and as it turns out, her name was Candace. Candace Cadence. This is how I came to this aha moment. So I simply asked, what do you think? Just to simply get some feedback. And as a result, I learned about cadence of voice. And yes, I am wearing headphones and listening to myself in real time feedback. So that does affect how I talk on the mic. I learned this a few years ago. So let's talk about cadence for just a minute. How many of you know a personality type that changes like the wind, like a chameleon, meaning they are constantly reflecting the people that they are around as if they were a sponge soaking up pieces and parts of other people and making them a part of them? I find it to be very fake, to be honest, but who am I to judge what I witness? You see what I did just then? I said that with a bit of cadence. So this leads me to the Pied Piper effect, right? Where people who are really, really good at public speaking can often captivate their audience. It puts them in almost like a hypnotic trance. Who do we know that goes by that stage name but is spelled very much differently? Oh yeah, that's me. So the hypnosis effect of how we say what we say is more important than how we say it. It is a lot to do with the tone, because tone is energy, and that is another one of those things that most people are not really attuned into. Now, a person who is filled with anger, and I only know this because at one point in my life, I was one of those people who was mad at the world for all sorts of reasons that I really couldn't change. I couldn't do nothing about it, but just be mad. So letting go of those emotions allowed me to go into a softer side of myself, which I don't even know what's going to happen in this video. I'm just going to talk to all of you like you're real people, like you're really sitting here with me, listening to me tell a story. And I'm going to throw out the window all of those YouTube videos about why people are not watching your channel, how to increase your views, how to fix your thumbnails, how to fix your titles, yada, yada, yada. So let me share this with you all right now. Just like a radio station, right? The first thing that happens when a song comes on that you like, you turn up the dial. When the song changes and you're not vibing with the next song, you change channels. So when it comes to things on YouTube, for example, videos that show up in your feed or other things in life, we often either resonate with something or we don't. So let me show you a hidden layer of consciousness that I've come to learn because I'm a quick learner. Clicking on those type videos, why isn't your channel getting views? Why do you need to change your thumbnails? Why do you need to use this font, and so on and so on and so on? It is to suggest that you don't have it now. Yes, it's true that my views have been down recently, but there is also all across this platform where people have been talking about that. So there is this resonance with that, but also I take this back to Neville Goddard for just a minute. It is a better statement to say I am strong than it is to say I will be strong. To say that I will be means that you are not now. So by clicking on stuff like that, you can uncover things within your conscious, right? Why am I clicking on this video? Is it because I feel like I don't have something and I'm trying to get it, or is it something else? So I find that as a self-reflection tool very interesting. Now back to the cadence of voice. The Pied Piper effect, right? We've seen this in like cartoons where like somebody's playing the flute and people start to join in. As a matter of fact, me and my children were recently watched a segment on YouTube of The Mask where he starts to sing and dance in like a salsa, right? And next thing you know, the cops, they're starting to dance, they're starting to move. And that's because of the cadence, it's because of the entertainment, it's because of the vibration. So there is the law of vibration, which is another one of the hermetic laws, and the law of correspondence. What goes out must be returned or reflected. So this aligns perfectly with Neville Goddard when he speaks about love and hate being two very powerful emotions of opposites, right? So a person can take their hatred inside of them and project it onto another person, and it amplifies it, right? And then you become that which you hate by the very reflection of yourself. And I find that to be very eye opening, to be honest with everyone out there. I understand this very clearly, which is why I spent the last 3 years trying not to allow myself to be around people who would trigger me or to set me off into that angry emotion. But I've also tried to learn to embrace that very anger because you need it. You need the anger to um, use it as a manifestation tool. Why? The example of using a workout, right, to direct the energy into a meaningful and purposeful way to express it. Somebody could piss you off, just go work out. Somebody could piss you off, go do something else, right? Even in semen retention and celibacy, and I think it's Napoleon Hill, um, sexual transmutation of energy is to redirect that energy. Now, he says that when you try to block something, just like a river, like you try to put a dam in a river, eventually enough force will be applied against that dam that it will bust through or find another way. The weakest point is where the water will find its outlet. So the same thing happens with our sexual energy. And to be honest, it is the root of all of our energy. That is, our reproductive system is directly tied to our nervous system, which is the upper part and then the lower part. So you shall know them by their fruit. And that makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to try something here, guys. I'm just rambling off the top of my head because of the live feedback in my ears right now. They say that truth is best told through comedy, so jokes and being funny. So why so serious? Yeah, because my channel has gotten born. That's my opinion. It may not be all of y'all's opinion out there, but y'all, that's a very southern thing to say. But to be honest with all of you, it is true that truth through humor is often the best way to get a point across, but sometimes truth through humor doesn't always stick. And sometimes it is all about how you say what you say, not so much about what you say. Because if I sit here and I get a very serious, mean demeanor about myself, why would you watch me? Why would you sit here and feel like you're being berated by me and continue to watch my channel? That was something I learned last year. To be honest with you guys, some people have a gluttony for punishment. And it just doesn't make any sense to me, but I observed it, I witnessed it, I watched it. Why would somebody continue to put themselves in a position where they're being berated by people? Why, well, people are talking down to them like they're stupid, unless that is how they grew up, unless that is what feels familiar to them, family. You're so stupid. Were you raised in a barn? What are you thinking? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with me is I don't know any better because no one has taught me any better. There's that cadence coming out again. So cadence is rhythm. I am rhythm. And that makes me think about flash dance. Please believe in. I'm not a great singer, so please don't ask me to sing and I will not sing. But I will spin my ass off on some tunes on the turntables, and that is something that I am at home doing, and I wish that I could upload videos of my mixes so all you guys could enjoy it. But as it turns out with sound, somehow it's copyrighted, meaning that you can't use a certain structure of sound in a certain organized manner, or it's demonetized or taken down because somebody has a license. Can I copyright my own voice? I don't know. That's a good question. And to be honest, today I posted about quitting for a while, taking a break, and um, here I am sitting here because what else do I do in my life? I work the 8 to 5 job. I have a DJ business and a YouTube channel, a clothing brand that I'm trying to grow. And I feel weird as hell trying to ask the people of opposite gender, would you support my brand? Maybe even wear some of the clothes and give me feedback. I feel weird because of my own past experiences with that, because of the way that certain women have seen men as the patriarch. It's a hierarchy of things. Men are evil. They're so evil. They're out to get you. They just want to sleep with you. That's all they want from you. Maybe some of them are, but not every man is. That's the truth. So for me, it has made it to the point where I just don't know how to ask without feeling weird about it, because I don't want those kind of responses. So I just don't. So check this out for just a minute. My last video was about mentalism, about the mind and fortifying the mind and not allowing people on the outside to plant seeds into your mind of doubt and fear and taking on things of the outside world. But let me point this out. Matthew 6:25, Jesus said, take no thoughts for yourself. Take no thoughts, meaning when somebody on the outside of you says, I think, it means for you to be aware of what it is they are saying to you and what it truly means before you accept it as truth, before you take it for yourself, right? So that leads me back to how I opened this video about the YouTube videos where people are saying, do this and your views will increase. Do that and you'll get 10,000 more views. Change your thumbnail and this will happen. Well, honestly, I've tried some of that stuff and it didn't work. So that's what happens when you take thoughts for yourself. Now, does that mean to not listen to anyone's advice or to hear anyone out or to listen to other people's opinions? No, that's not what that means. But it does mean to slow your response time down, to observe what is being said to you, to use your discernment, your intuition, and to think for yourself. But most importantly, how does it make you feel? That is what is important. There is a lot of life coaches out there. And there was one specifically, I cannot think of his name at the moment, but he was saying that when his kids come to him with a drawing, he doesn't just automatically say that's good, right? Because if that happens as a pattern, then you'll go through life seeking the validation from other people. Instead, he asked his kid, how does this drawing make you feel? And then it allows the child to express their inner emotion and feeling about the drawing. And so it creates this doorway where there is equal give and take. So then the parent can respond and say, well, that's great. It makes you feel good. I love it. You could actually do more like this because you're so good at it. And it makes you feel good. I encourage you to continue going with this. And it really highlighted something to me when I heard that and I reflected on my own life. And I felt like the problem child growing up. I felt like I was the reason for my parents' struggles. And I felt like if I didn't exist, they wouldn't have the problems that they had. So that is a bit of self-awareness and self-honesty, but also realizing that it doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it real. Maybe I did experience that. Maybe that is how it made me feel at the time, but I don't have to carry that throughout the rest of my life. Cadence, rhythm. So when it comes to music, when it comes to a cadence, when it comes to a vibe and correspondence, what goes out must come back. What goes up must come down. What goes down will always come back up. What you plant in the ground will eventually grow, just like seeds planted in the mind and then watered by emotion, and then they grow into feelings. Very interesting. So, talking to myself on a mic with headphones on while recording a video for YouTube is very interesting because I've done it a few times, but not in this manner. Let me get a little bit closer to the microphone. Maybe some AMSR would be good here. Perhaps if you have headphones on right now, you could hear the deepness of my voice. Is this better? Is this like a radio voice? Do I sound like the host from Hot 95.5? No, I don't. Something different. Very deep in my voice. Wait a minute. Diaphragm, straight from the solar plexus, all the way up, resonating through the chest cavity. Say, do you know why they call it the treasure chest? Treasure chest? Because a closed heart is a guarded heart, meaning you are guarding yourself and keeping the treasures within hidden. So to open your heart and follow your heart, it's kind of hard to do that if it's closed, right? If it's guarded. Treasure chest. There is a treasure in my chest because the heart is the biggest electromagnetic field of the body. Much bigger than the electromagnetic field of the mind. So mentalism itself requires us to understand what is happening in the mind, but it does not really address the electromagnetic field of the heart. And I only come to understand this through all the many topics I've researched for this channel and the different videos that I've done. I am a self-learning type personality. I love to learn and love to try new things. And yeah, so I'm probably the most interesting person you've never met, and perhaps maybe never will, except through this channel, unless you're helping me grow my brand or one of my other businesses. And by that, anything could be possible or not. It really depends, right? Of voice, the ups and downs, the vibration of voice, the pronunciation of voice. Voice. Anyways. All right, guys.